Welcome to this edition of Tech Clarity TV. My name is Jim Brown, President of Tech Clarity, where we make the business value of technology clear. Today I'd like to talk to you about developing a cloud strategy for the software that supports your product innovation and product development processes. So why are we talking about this? First of all, there's a tremendous amount of value in moving software to the cloud. Many people know about the total cost of ownership reductions that the cloud can offer. People are very interested in moving what was typically a capital expense over to an operational expense. And they may often move to the cloud because of limitations in their IT resources. So they want to leverage some third parties and leverage infrastructure coming from the cloud. Another reason that people move to the cloud is to reduce risk, because there's a lot less that they have to focus on and a lot lower investment up front. But there are also reasons to move to the cloud for performance. There are some areas that are just fundamentally improved by moving to the cloud. Some examples are things like the Internet of Things, supporting that, big data analytics. Also some engineering applications like simulation or design optimization, generative design. These types of applications can take advantage of the vast resources of the cloud and the elastic computing resources and really do a fundamentally better job than most companies could do themselves. So why are companies developing strategy? Unfortunately, it's not entirely a simple, check mark, yes, it's time to move to the cloud. There's a lot to consider. Companies have to consider what they want to move to the cloud, but also when and how much risk they want to take on in the process. There are very few companies that have no software in place for engineering software, for CAD or for PLM or the combination of them. They have to look at what they have in place first. And unfortunately, it's not an apples to apples comparison most times between software that's available on-premise and software that's available via the cloud as sort of a true cloud solution. So what we're seeing is companies are taking their time. They're not rushing to the cloud. They're being very purposeful. They want the value, but they're spending a lot of time evaluating when to move and not doing it all at once. So it tends to be more of an evolution. A lot of companies are very wary of switching things quickly when they're switching technology and functionality at the same time. But things are starting to change a little bit because a lot of the existing vendors are taking existing the solutions that companies are used to today that are already supporting their business and offering them in a cloud environment. Some of the options that are available, obviously there's cloud software as a service or cloud SaaS, and that comes in a couple of different flavors. Sometimes it's single tenant, where you've got an individual company and their data being run independently from others, but there's also multi-tenant models where your data and somebody else's data are combined in a database, but segregated. But there are also other models like managed services. This is a cloud deployment option where the software is deployed in the cloud, but there's an individual instance managed for each company. So you still have some of the flexibility to do things like make modifications to the software. There's also options such as infrastructure as a service, or IaaS. And with that option, what you're doing is actually very close to a traditional implementation, but you're using somebody else's infrastructure, somebody else's services, and they're managing that as well. And then obviously there's the traditional approach of on-site, on-premise implementations. So there's a lot to consider. There's more information about it in our recent ebook covering this topic. I hope this short discussion was useful to you, and I look forward to continuing the conversation.